Nike just undertook a significant business change, and A.A. Wilson is outraged beyond belief. Nike eventually realized the truth after years of investing millions on Wilson's brand while witnessing Caitlin Clark light up the internet every time she touches a basketball. All along, they have been supporting the wrong horse, and now that they're focusing on the athlete who truly pushes merchandise, they are completely losing it. This is more than simply trainers, folks. This relates to Nike's eventual admission that they favored someone whose shoes are kept on shelves while Clark's equipment causes their website to crash more quickly than poor Wi-Fi. I am finally delivers Caitlin Clark PE. Is this the first Caitlin Clark exclusive Nike commercial since she's entered the WNBA? I know she's made a cameo here, she's made a cameo there, she was featured as part of this rollout here, featured as part of this rollout there, but is this our first official Caitlin Clark solo commercial since she has joined the WNBA? Even while egos lie, maths doesn't. So let's examine the statistics. Wilson's Nike A1S. Yes, back in May, it sold out in 5 minutes. That sounds fantastic, but it turns out that they only issued a small quantity, creating a false sense of scarcity. In the meantime, 13,000 pairs disappear in a matter of minutes after Caitlin Clark releases a Kobe collaboration. Seconds, not 5 minutes. The Nike website wasn't merely slow. In essence, it gave itself over to the troops of Caitlin Clark. On the secondary market, resale prices immediately increased to $350 and $600. Clark's merchandise doesn't simply sell out when it becomes popular. It causes a feeding frenzy that turns Black Friday into a peaceful yard sale. This is where things get hot though. Nike gave Asia the royal treatment, personalized logos, design input, and more while creating Asia's distinctive collection over the course of 2 full years. They let her to add lines from her grandmother and Celtic symbols for her parents, creating a lace-adorned family scrapbook. While waiting for her own shoe, Caitlin Clark is donning Kobe hand-me-downs that outsell Wilson's handmade pieces by margins that make mathematicians cry. Wilson was given the world by Nike. However, Wilson's carefully chosen brand messages don't seem to generate as much hype as Clark's leftovers. Please subscribe if you're enjoying this. The elephant in the room needs to be addressed. Wilson's first approach. She has run for office as a basketball player in an attempt to garner attention. She still acts as though the world owes her the shoe, the incomprehensible emblem, and the Malia Obama-directed commercials. In the meantime, Clark simply shows up, performs, and unintentionally turns into the most marketable celebrity since Michael Jordan. Wilson demands deference. Clark gets it by unintentionally filling arenas and crashing websites. I lost all respect for A.J. Wilson. I don't want to hear her opinions. I don't care what she has to say from this point on. When you keep a Nike deal 2 years, 2 years in secret while you were spewing all that crazy stuff about Caitlin Clark in the Time magazine. Read it. Read what she said in the Time magazine. Yet you had a Nike deal the whole entire time. The amusing thing is that Nike made a sincere effort to make this work. They pushed Wilson harder than a desperate salesman, created advertisements centered upon her gem in the rough story, and granted her an extension for more than $20 million. However, Clark's natural factor cannot be produced. After signing an 8-year, $28 million contract, Clark effortlessly rose to the position of Nike's most valuable asset. There are millions of free advertisements every time she wears Nike on court. Wilson needs scripts and production teams. All Clark has to do is exist. Let's discuss the impact on the market, where Wilson's illusions collided with reality. For Iowa alone, Caitlin Clark's economic effect was estimated to be $82 million. For a single player in a single state, that is enormous. Her influence extends beyond hoops to become a cultural phenomenon. Nike executives must be hating themselves for attempting to make Aja Wilson happen like she's a basketball fetch, while ignoring the female Michael Jordan. Nike was overly preoccupied with their social scorecard despite the obvious. Jordan Rogers, a former marketing director, even publicly criticized his former employer for mishandling the Clark chants. while giving us a false impression, an insider had to humiliate them into realizing that Clark was the golden goose they had been ignoring, as they attempt to tease Wilson as the league's face rather than its real face. Nike stock fell to a 5-year low. Nike is now awakening. The internet literally breaks when Clark's sneakers fall. Wilson, meantime, watches as Clark's haphazard Tuesday release overshadows her planned roll-off. It's embarrassing how different it is. For Wilson to move stock, months of buzz are required. One post is required for Clark. People suddenly set up camp as if it were the ultimate drop. However, Nike's admission of what we already knew is what truly bends AI. Clark offers dreams, not just shoes. The message is evident from the market's conversation with wallets. The future belongs to Caitlin Clark. In an attempt to remain current, Wilson is yesterday's news. Nike ignored the organic wave under their noses for years while pretending to be in demand for Wilson. Wilson received gold medals, rings, and MVP awards, but it was unable to replicate Clark's bond with supporters. On paper, Wilson's numbers are impressive, but Clark's influence goes beyond statistics. She is a ball-playing cultural figure. At last, Nike understands. Manufactured tales are inferior to natural charisma. Clark never requested to be the face. She simply became it by being outstanding. Wilson ran for the position as if it were an inheritance. Nike has shifted its focus from business to survival. Clark lifted the WNBA on his own while they shoved Wilson. While others struggle for 300K viewers, her games draw over 1 million. For her, arenas are prepared. Her jersey is worn by girls like a superhero cape. That is not marketing. Organic effect is what businesses strive for. People reloaded the website as if they were purchasing tickets for a Beatles reunion when Clark's Cobes dropped. Wilson's drops have the feel of homework. It feels like Christmas morning in Clark's. Across the board, this commercial was a 10 for 10, and a lot of people have been getting on Nike because they don't feel like they have been promoting Caitlin as much as they should. But I will say we have to give credit where credit is due. I feel like in the past month or so, they had been tweeting about Caitlin more, and then obviously with the shoe release, they'd made this super sick commercial to promote it. And of course, just today, Caitlin Clark's new Kobe PE shoe sold out in less than a minute, and I saw so many tweets about this, so many people who are so sad that they've missed out on the shoe. I saw that there was this one Dick's store and people were lined up around the corner like camping out trying to get the shoe. I find it's very deplorable to me. I find it's very deplorable that you allow Caitlin Clark to get crapped on now whole entire time. You need to speak up. And on top of it, Nike's a bunch of a-holes too, because they didn't speak up and defend Caitlin Clark or speak up and say, hey, we got age of shoe coming. That age issue coming, just gotta be patient. Caitlin Clark's gonna get hers too. I don't understand the tactics here. Oh, you're causing controversy that didn't have to be there. You're calling division where it didn't have to be there. You're calling racial, issues where it didn't have to be there. There is a lot of irony. For years, Wilson bemoaned the lack of shoes and attention. In silence, Clark became everything Wilson said she should be. Clark didn't run for office or have tantrums. Through unquestionable excellence, she earned it. Wilson observes from the sidelines as Clark emerges as the golden child now that Nike is catching up. When Clark drops merchandise, the Nike website crashes. Consider that. Ian, who is 23 years old, is too big for a tech infrastructure worth billions of dollars. That is unmatched in history. Blips are caused by Wilson's releases. Digital earthquakes are caused by Clark's. The market is truthful. Wilson is capable of winning titles. However, Clark's unmistakable star power is worth money. During the Netflix age, Nike realized that betting in Wilson was equivalent to investing in Blockbuster. They pushed a capped asset while treating the future as a backup. As Nike gives money to the needle mover, we are witnessing Otta come to the realization that she is not the chosen one. Wilson's shoe will make a statement and sell to diehards. However, everyone can purchase Clark's goods. Children, parents, informal. Mass dominance is what that is. Wilson's face was created by Nike for millions of dollars, but the true face was there. They now regard Clark as an all-encompassing phenomenon. There is an acceleration of the Clark effect. Nike has finally come to the realization that they must be on the correct side. Order has the power to demand attention, but the market determines who receives it. Millions of people used credit cards to vote for Caitlin Clark.